Hello viewers, as promised I am back again with the prose solutions. So let's get to work, and you are watching Not Mine, your channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel up till now, please do, and press the like button if you feel you have liked it. Don't be miserly, please, because you know these inspire me to carry on with the work I am doing. So now, without wasting any more time, let's get to it. So the first prose question comes from The Face in the Dark, story by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, Anglo-Indian author and very famous. It had no eyes, ears, nose or mouth. It was just a round, smooth head with a school cap on top of it. So I don't need to go for the extract. You know it all very well. Let's go to the questions. Who was Mr. Oliver? Where did he encounter it? So Mr. Oliver, one part. Who was Mr. Oliver? It has two subdivisions. So 3 marks question. So first one, who was Mr. Oliver, would carry 1 marks, and where did he encounter it? So you have this it here with a school cap on top of it. So it comes here. So Mr. Oliver was a teacher. He was an Anglo-Indian teacher, and he used to teach in a residential school on the outskirts of the hill station of Shimla. This is enough for 1 marks. And where did he encounter it? So it happened that one day when he used to frequent the Shimla Bazaar, and one day as he was returning in the evening through the pine forest, what did he see? He had a torch with him, and the light of the torch fell on the figure of a boy who was sitting on a rock. So he found the boy in the pine forest, and the boy was seated on a rock. So you have it in your, so most people would prefer to take the main road, but he would take because he was not an imaginative person, he was not easily frightened. So he took the way through the pine trees or the pine forest, and it is here where he found it sitting on a rock. Where did Mr. Oliver work? So we can only say in the first question, part 1, Mr. Oliver was an Anglo-Indian teacher, because in the second question, where did Mr. Oliver work? We can write here that Mr. Oliver worked in a residential school. So we can bring this one rather here, and we can make our first answer all the more concise, all the more brief. So Mr. Oliver worked in a residential school on the outskirts of the Shimla Bazaar. What did Life magazine describe this place as? The Eden of the East. Why? So here you have 2 parts. So Mr. Oliver, the school in which he taught, it was called the Eden of the East. Why? Because here the school had been run on English public school lines. The boys, most of them wealthy Indian families, wore blazers, caps and ties. So since they ran on English public school lines with all the types of dress which people in England's famous schools in England wore, that is why it was called the Eden of the East. Eden actually is a very famous residential school in London. And why had Mr. Oliver approached it in the first place? What had he mistaken it for? Mr. Oliver had approached it in the first place because he thought that this was a school boy. This was a boy belonging to his school. Excuse me. And what had he mistaken it for? And why had he thought it was a school boy? Because he was wearing all the things the school boys wear. He had a cap on his head and all that. And the question is, what had he mistaken it for? He had mistaken the boy for a miscreant. he had thought that the boys of this school were not supposed to be out after dark, but it was dark and the boy was not in the school. So he had thought that the boy was breaking school rules, and that is why he came, because he wanted to have a clear look at the miscreant. He wanted to recognize the miscreant, and that is why he approached it. What is a lantern? Yeah, many of you had doubts in this question. What is a lantern? Who was holding the lantern is of course very easy. And why did Mr. Oliver feel relieved at the sight of the lantern? Lantern is an, what should we say, it's a container, and it has transparent sides, and in the middle of it there is a flame, or it can be run on battery, it can be operated on battery, or it has a live flame inside, and its work is to illuminate the surroundings, and it also has a type of handle to hold it. So what is a lantern, and who was holding the lantern? You know, the lantern was being held by who? So the second person who's there to frighten Mr. Oliver, the watchman of the school. And why did Mr. Oliver feel relieved at the sight of the lantern? So remember what had happened. Mr. Oliver, after seeing that faceless boy who had no eyes, no face, no nose, nothing, so seeing that, he had been so scared that the torch fell from his hands, and he started running aghast from through the pine trees. So when he saw the light and the watchman holding it, naturally he was relieved, because he felt there is a human being here and there is also light here. So he felt relieved on seeing the watchman with the lantern. Briefly describe the meeting between the lantern bearer and Mr. Oliver. Yes, so what happened? He was really panting in fear and panic, excitement. So what did he tell? He told the watchman that he had seen a boy. So what does he say? So the watchman comes, he volunteers, and he comes forward and he asks, what is it, Sahib? Why are you, has there been an accident? Why are you running? So what does he say? I saw something horrible, a boy weeping in the forest, and he had no face. So immediately what happens? The watchman says, no face, Sahib, and he says, no, he doesn't have any eyes, he doesn't have any mouth, no nose, eyes, nose, mouth, all missing. So he doesn't have anything. And then what happens? The watchman lifts the lantern up to show his face, and he tells that, do you mean it was like this? That means he shows his own face. Do you mean to say that the boy's face was like mine? So Mr. Oliver, what does he see? That even this person has no face. It's again faceless. And something added, as if no eyebrows. Well, we are not mentioned about the boy not having any eyebrows, anything, nothing has been mentioned, but at least in this case it has been mentioned that the man had no eyebrows. So now for your last part, state one reason why A Face in the Dark could be considered a horror story. I always advise my students to read the box, because just see, in the last paragraph of the box, what is written? Ruskin Bond makes skillful use of all the elements of a horror story. So what is the aim of a horror story? To excite fear. And Ruskin Bond is successful in doing it. Don't you feel a chill running through your spine? Fear, surprise, suspense, mystery. All these things are present in the story. So one element, if we are to give in, yes, it arouses fear in us. That is the most important characteristic of a horror story. And it really does. We also feel frightened like Mr. Oliver. So Face in the Dark can be considered as a horror story. And now we go to our Jesse Owens one. Yes, my first Olympic, my greatest Olympic prize, and this you all of you know that this is an autobiography. It really happened. When and where is this story set? So this story actually is set in Berlin, and when 1936 Olympic Games. I told you it's a true story. It's not really a story, it's an autobiography. So 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin. Again you'll find many of the things in the box. When? 1936 Olympic Games, where? Berlin. And the next one, what reason does the narrator Jesse Owens give for the heightened nationalistic feelings at this time? Actually, Berlin, Germany, Hitler was at that time a very powerful dictator, and his Nazis. So he had instilled he had tried to send this message all over the world that the Aryans are a superior race. Aryans, good looking, fair skinned, they are a superior race, and naturally Jesse Owens and the other athletes who were not fair, or they felt it an insult, and they felt that, who were representing their own countries and nationalistic feelings, they wanted to show that no, not your only Germans, who are also belonging to the Aryan race, only they can win. Even we have come here to win for our country and we can do it. So they refuted this Aryan supremacy theory of Hitler. In which event had Owens been confident of winning a gold medal, and why? So he had been confident of winning a gold medal, especially in running the broad jump. And why? Second part. I told you always change your paragraph. Second part, because a year before in the university, in the university sports, he had already set a world record of 26 feet 8 1/4 inches. So naturally he felt that if I do that feat here also, again I can win a gold medal. Not only that, he had also hoped to get quite a few gold medals. And what had made Owens angry enough to make mistakes? He was angry enough to make mistakes. Why? Because Hitler had kept one of the athletes quite as a secret. It was as if a surprise attack during the Olympic Games. He had kept one of the athletes, a German named Luz Long. You can pronounce it Luz Long, but it's normally pronounced as Luz Long. So this was as if Hitler's trump card, and he was good looking, everything that matches that Aryan supremacy theory, or that feeling that. So this, looking at him, and Hitler had kept him within wraps, that means he had kept him as a surprise. And why was, so naturally Jesse Owens, and on looking at this man, he was again reminded of this theory of Hitler, Aryan supremacy theory, or Nazis' Aryan supremacy theory, and that made him angry. So he felt that if Luz Long, if he wins, then again it will be a strong point establishing the Aryan supremacy theory, that what Hitler and his people believe, that is correct. They are a superior race and blacks cannot compete or be nowhere near them. And that is why he became angry. And when he became angry, an angry athlete is an athlete who will make mistakes. So because when you are angry now, you are not focused. You are not focused on what you are doing. You keep on thinking of what has made you angry, and naturally you don't give your 100%. So this is what happened with him also. So what did he do in his the first of his 3 qualifying jumps? He leaped from several inches beyond the takeoff board and made a foul. In the second jump he did worse. He fouled again. So now he thinks, why did I come here? Name Owens's rival who approached him at this moment. Yes, his rival who had also come to compete, and he did it very easily, Luz Long. And what advice did this athlete give Owens? Just see, this is what we call sportsmanlike spirit. He did not need to go and give Owens an advice, because see, both of them were competing in the same event, competing for the gold or whatever. first position. So if his advice clicked and Owens followed it and he did better, then he would get the prize. But no, Luz Long didn't think in that way. He thought that the best will get the prize. So what advice did he give? So he came and told, he asked him what was bothering him. And he also was aware of the record made by Jesse Owens in the university one. So he told him that you draw a line a few inches in the back of the board and aim at making your takeoff from there. So this is the advice he told, that you draw a line. So he tells Owen to draw a line a few inches in the back of the board and from there to make his takeoff. Because he is certain that if Owens does in this way, he will not foul and he will jump even far enough to qualify. Suppose you need to jump up till here to qualify, he would be able to jump a little further. Very safely he can qualify. And he tells you don't need to come first in the trials, you need to qualify in the trials. Don't try to show your best here only, just qualify and give your best for the finals, first to get selected. In trying to come first, if you get foul out of the trials, then you won't be able to go for the finals only. Your journey will end here. So try to qualify. You don't need to come first in the trials because it hardly matters. Qualifying matters in the trials. How did the two athletes perform in the finals? Yes, in the finals, Luz Long broke his own record. He did very well. He did as much as he could. He did his best. So Luz broke his own past record, and in doing so, what happened? Jesse Owens was pushed to do much better than what Luz Long has done. He has already broken his Luz Long's own record, so I have to do better than that in order to get the gold. So what did he do? He set an Olympic world record of 26 feet 5, 5/16 inches. Though it was not like the one he had, more than the one he had created in the university sports, but still it is an Olympic record. Olympic is very different from the university ones. So in the Olympics he created a world record, 26 feet 5 inches 5/16 inches. So, and this is how he created history and won the gold and showed that Hitler's Aryan supremacy theory, that they are a superior race, did not really click in his case. He was a black sportsman, black American, and in spite of it he had won the gold, leaving the second spot for Hitler's favorite Luz Long. What did Jesse Owens consider his greatest Olympic prize? Why? So he got the gold medal. So he says, but if all the gold medals which I have, you melt them, then the gold which you get, they won't be so valuable as the friendship bond which started here at this Olympics between Luz Long and Jesse Owens. This was a pure gold friendship, 24 karat gold. And it wouldn't have been possible if a sportsman, real sportsman like Luz Long had come forward on his own and helped Jesse Owens to make the gold, to win the gold medal. And not only that, just see his sportsman-like qualities. Immediately, he is the first one to come and congratulate. He doesn't think that it is because of this man that I lost my gold and I have been pushed to the second position. He doesn't feel that why did I advise him. He is a real sportsman and he believes that the best should win. So he considers the friendship between Luz Long and himself his greatest Olympic prize. And why? Though I already told you that because this friendship was based on cooperation, this friendship was based on the true qualities of a sportsman. Be a modest winner and a smiling loser. So, important thing, so what the founder of the modern Olympic Games had said, important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering but fighting well. So now only one question is left for you, that is All Summer in a Day, and we'll do it soon. All Summer in a Day, it's a science fiction. So again this 4, 4 and 8. Instead of the whole 16 which you all used to get as an essay type question in the previous years, this is it has 3 parts. The previous extracts which we dealt, they had 5 questions, but this one has 3 questions. Name the planet on which the story is set. So it should be 1 marks because the planet on which this story is set is Venus. And describe everyday life on this planet. So in this planet, it would rain for 7 years and then the sun would come out for a brief 2 hours and then again it would disappear, leaving the planet in rains and thunder and lightning and everything. So it had been raining for 7 years, thousands and thousands of days, filled from one end to other with rain, the drum and gush of water, all the noise made by the rain, the torrents and all that. Sweet crystal fall, so different types of rains, crystal fall of showers, it can be thunder and lightning, the torrential rain. So all the sounds associated with soft rain and severe rain. So this is how life would be, life was in Venus. So the forests everywhere full of trees, the trees coming up, sprouting into plants, sprouting into trees and then dying away but giving way to fresh forest. This is how life continued in Venus. 1,000 forests had been crushed under the rain and grown up 1,000 times to be crushed again. Why? Because the soil would be filled with water, so it would not have the strength to hold the trees, so they would be crushed and then again because of the water they would come up again. So this was life in Venus. And why was there so much excitement in the schoolroom that morning? There was so much excitement in the schoolroom that morning because that day was special. After 7 years of rain, it was expected that the sun would make its appearance for a brief period of 2 hours. And that is why everyone was excited, especially these children who had not been aware of what the sun is. Most of them were 9-year-olds. So if you minus 7 from 9, when the last sun had been visible, had appeared, they might have been 2 years like this. So they wouldn't have a memory of what the sun looks like. So naturally they were all full of conjectures, all full of doubts also whether the sun would really come. And what set Margaret apart from other children? Margaret was different from other children. Why? Because she had come from the earth in a few years ago, and when she was 4, most probably till 4 years she had stayed on the earth. So as such she had been experienced to the sun all these 4 years of her life, and then her parents and with her parents she had come to Venus. So that is why she was different from the others. Not only that, she wouldn't run with them and all the things which they enjoyed. All the other children, they were born in Venus. As such they were accustomed to this climate, to this atmosphere, but she was not, having been born on earth and lived there for 4 years. So naturally she would stay apart when they would play their games. She was very frail, she was very white, and she was not keeping good health, and so their parents, even at a loss of a lot of money, they had planned to shift to the earth most probably the next year. Describe how the planet was transformed when the sun came out and shone briefly over it. Why was Margaret not able to witness this phenomenon, and what emotion do you suppose the other children experienced when Margaret emerged at the end of the story? So this is your last question of 8 marks. So you'll have to write quite some amount, quite a good amount, because 8 marks, yes, this is a big answer. So here first part will be what happened, how did the planet look when the sun came out. So when the sun came out, it looked like a bronze, most probably it is here. All the noise which they were associated, the noise of the rain, the thunder, everything, the pitter patter on the roofs. So as if the sound apparatus had been made mute. And this silence was as if deafening to them. They were accustomed to this noise, and everything stopped. All the noise made by the rain stopped, and since the children and all these inhabitants of Venus, they were accustomed to the noise, they shut their ears. Why? Because the silence seemed to be deafening. And then what happened? The sun came out. And how did it look? It was the color of flaming bronze, and it was very large. Of course, it would look larger than it is from the earth. Why? Because Mercury, Venus, and then comes earth. So Venus is closer to the sun. And the sky around it, a blazing tile color, a blazing blue tile color. And the second part, why was Margaret not able to witness this phenomenon? Margaret was not able to witness this phenomenon because the children, they had their doubts that whether the sun would come out or not, and they were jealous of her because she had seen the sun. She knew more about the sun than them. They were jealous, and that is why they were also angry. They were angry, and that is why, what did they do? Out of their anger and frustration and jealousy, because she was going to the earth, going back to the earth next year, so they teased her first that the sun is not coming out today, but she was sure that it would come out. They had their doubts, so they held her and put her in a closet and locked it from outside. So as such, though she tried her best, cry out to them to let her out, they did not allow her to see the sun. She was locked in the closet, and that is why she could not witness this phenomenon. So she was sanguine, or she was definite that the sun would come out, and she could not see the sun. She knew how the sun looked, and yet she could not see the sun. And what emotion do you suppose the other children experienced when Margaret emerged at the end of the story? So when Margaret, after the sun had disappeared, they realized that Margaret had been locked in the closet. So they felt remorseful, they felt guilty, and that is a good sign, because in the beginning we are told about the selfishness, their desire for, their jealousy and their desire for revenge, but at the end the story ends in a hopeful note where we find the children sorry for their misbehavior, they are sorry for what they had done, and that is why the story ends in a point of hope. And they, guilt stricken, they go towards the closet and they let Margaret out from there. They unlock the door even more slowly, and then they let Margaret out. So the story ends in a positive note that children are not really that bad. They realize the mistake they have made, and as such they are sorry for it. So I hope you all have no doubts. You all can, again, as I have mentioned in the previous ones, you all can ask me if you have any doubts. I am there to clear your doubts. And again I remind you, if you have not subscribed to my channel up till now, please do. And don't feel shy to press the like button, because I told you it inspires me. And now I'll take my leave. Have a good time. I hope there are some more exams left, and best of luck for it. And goodbye.